As the digital marketing landscape has become more expensive, marketers are looking to alternative channels outside of Google and Facebook to help drive new customer acquisition and retention. This has fueled a resurgence in direct mail, from small formats to full-size catalogs. Direct mail has incredible capabilities for targeting and measurement, which have driven more advanced strategies around segmentation, contact frequency, form factors, and creative. When integrated with a digital contact strategy so that the consumer receives multiple contacts across online and offline channels, response rates can increase double digits. In this session, you'll learn more about Made In's great success with direct mail and learn how direct mail can work for your brand. Please join me in welcoming our speakers. Stephanie Taylor, Senior Vice President of Acquisition at Belardi, Wong. And Chip Malt, the co-founder and CEO at Made in Cookware.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Taylor. I'm the Senior Vice President of Belardi Wong, and I'm thrilled to be sitting here with you with one of my favorite clients. I shouldn't say that, but I'm saying it. Chip Malt from Made in Cookware.
Thank you for having me.
Chip, tell us a little bit about your brand and why you were inspired to launch Made in Cookware.
Sure. So what we do is we make direct-to-consumer kitchenware, digitally native. And what's special about us is my co-founder, Jake, he comes from a 100-year-old family history in the kitchen space. So we say often that we have instituted a 100-year heritage into a 3-year-old brand, which I think is pretty unique. And what we do is on the manufacturing and craftsman side, we match that same ethos, his third-generation family business or history in the business, with who we work with on the manufacturing side. So we work with a knife manufacturer who's 5th generation, who's been, her great-great-grandfather started a knife manufacturing business in France. And then we bring that story to life through some of the best chefs in the world. So we work with Michelin star chefs from Tom Colicchio to Grant Achatz to Le Bernardin right down the street. Dozens of Michelin star restaurants, over 1,500 professional accounts use our cookware. So kind of match that professional quality, expert in the room voice with some of the best manufacturing and artisan work in the entire world.
Wow, that's impressive. What are the pillars of your brand that you're focused on right now?
So for us, I mean, if you're talking about digital acquisition and acquisition in general, obviously that landscape's changing. We were lucky enough, we have a lot of deep, rich stories to tell as a brand, and that's really important to us. And so, internally we talk a lot about not being confined to a 4x5 box on Instagram, which a lot of digitally native brands, I feel like, kind of over-index on or rely on. We have these manufacturing, our plateware, for example, is people have been working in that manufacturing facility and craftsman facility for over 50 years. They hand paint our bakeware. They hand paint our plateware. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it's almost doing itself a disservice to confine that to a Facebook or Instagram story. So for us, from day one, it's been about diversification. It's been about choosing our channels correctly, choosing channels that justify all the work we're doing on the product side as well. I mean, you can see on this slide, this is premium copper made from a 3rd-generation facility out of France, just absolutely stunning and beautiful. So like what allows us to tell that story correctly? And then obviously with the kind of implosion of the cookie and all that stuff, like where can we continue to scale? Where can we continue to be diversified and not at risk, and also enhance the brand?
This image of your copper is absolutely stunning. So, as you know, and this is going to sound a little self-serving, but at Belardi, we're obviously big fans of direct mail. Why did you choose to test direct mail, and why did you pick the timing of holiday 2019?
Yeah, we've always loved direct mail as a medium. As a company in general, we have a bias towards, because we have these kind of deep, rich stories, a bias towards channels that allow us to tell stories. So, gearing away from things like display advertising or, again, Instagram, Facebook, that tends to be kind of superficial, and more towards a TV or a radio or a podcast or a direct mail that gives us a medium to tell deep, rich stories as well as our brand building. I think there's very few digital advertising or kind of acquisition channels that are also brand building, direct mail being one of them, TV being one of them, podcast being one of them. And you scroll through our Instagram ads and you see comments like, "I will never buy another piece of on Instagram again. And so like, those aren't the brand building channels. And so for us, like having these premium quality products, having the price point that we do have, and then having these rich stories and being able to showcase our chef partners in a way that they would be happy to be in, like lends itself towards a direct mail, a TV, and some of these channels.
Absolutely. And as we were talking, actually just before we came in here, part of the strategy that we have with you is on your segmentation. So you're testing different forms, different factors, of course, different prospecting database subsets. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that's worked for you?
Yeah, I think this is a good example of everything not what I talked about. This was our first campaign, and this was, my background's in computer science and data analytics, and this is what happens when someone from that angle creates a catalog. It's disgusting. It is horrific, and it doesn't do all the stuff, the brand justice. This is when we were 1 year old, and we got into direct mail super early, and we took that kind of Facebook strategy of pop color, high contrast, like thumb stopping kind of thing, and tried to bring it to a channel like direct mail, and that just did not fit. And it performed, it performed fine, but it did not perform towards how we got there when we started to optimize the channel. We brought in an awesome VP of brand who came from some really great brands like LVMH and Nike, and you'll see kind of the progression of creative, and just like most channels, matching that creative to the channel and matching a creative that works and amplifies through that channel is super important. But we knew, we have a wide breadth of products. For us, direct mail is interesting because generally people get it in their kitchen. There's not many channels that you actually get to serve the product that you make into the area that someone can envision in. Like I used to be in the gym, kind of gym clothing space, and you can't email someone or mail someone a catalog into their gym. It just doesn't work, right? And so this was an area that theoretically we knew we wanted to be in. Again, it's brand building. We get to showcase our stories, and it lets us showcase a wide breadth of product where an Instagram ad tends to like lend itself more towards, you have one product, here it is, let's buy it. So we got into it. Holiday, it did well for us enough to prove the concept, but obviously since then we've really expanded our reach and our depth, and then our creative has been the unlock for the continued optimization of the channel.
I think your creative is stunning, and we're going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes, but I do want to push back and say, I don't actually think this is all that terrible. So that's why.
Our VP of brand would disagree with you.
Well, on the next slide, we're going to talk about your results. So we have an incredible roster of clients that help us benchmark results. And looking here, you indexed incredibly high for both response rate, sales per piece, and ROAS. Looking at your peer set. So tell me what this tells you and how you use this to optimize your DM going forward.
Yeah, for us it was enough to continue to test the channel. These weren't the exact results to start that we'd want long term, but this was a first test. It was low lift. We didn't build creative for that channel. We kind of repurposed because we were late to the game. But kind of that results based off effort was like, okay, this channel can be something big for us. And then also like just from a company our size, we talk a lot about like the effort towards the potential opportunity, and you go into some channels where, affiliate, for example, like you can get that to work really well at a high ROAS. Scaling that is very tough. So when you're a small company, can you actually do that will then be able to leverage your time for massive reach? And DM is one of these things. So for us, it was enough of a proof point to continue to optimize. And then also the opportunity was there that we can scale this big, because obviously we had big growth goals. Last year we tried to 5x the brand. We 5x the brand last year. We're doing similar this year, and it's okay.
Congratulations. 5x last year, 5x this year. Congratulations. So on the next slide, we're going to look at your results comparing year over year holiday. Maybe we're not. So
yeah,
I'm a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, so I think you'll see, like obviously last year, or the first year in 2019, we just kind of went out with our lookalike audience or kind of co-op based audience. Didn't do any segmentation, didn't do any A/B testing. Since then, we brought a lot of our same analysis around SKU choice, basket cart analysis, et cetera, into our mail this year. So I think this year we're running about 30 different variations of catalog covers and front and back covers based off of your historical purchase pattern. So if you had bought X product and you're a one-time buyer, what's your most likely purchase for that next product? You're going to receive that cover. And if you bought 2 times, at that point, you're more likely to explore the the depth of our catalog and cross-convert into new categories. So introducing people into new products if you've bought 2 times from us, et cetera. So for us, it's being about, we apply sophistication to all of our digital marketing efforts. That's kind of the exciting part of the business for myself. And then this is an interesting medium to bring some of that stuff that we do so well into digital into the physical space.
Yes, yes. And you are one of the more aggressive or robust testers, I would say, within our client roster. And here you can see where you, somehow or another my slides are off. I'm so sorry. I was going to show you, let me skip ahead, where we have 2, here's some cover testing, as Chip was just mentioning they have done, and then also some format and size testing. So what have you found that you like about these 2 different formats, the 7x8 compared to the 6x9?
Yeah, for us, we love the bigger format. We've tested both. The bigger format tends to work better for us for the marginal increase in cost. Like that's a trade we're willing to make. That's not the point for us to pinch on pennies. We see a better response rate. We see higher AOV. We have these. Our team does a phenomenal job with creative. Now that I'm out of there, not running that anymore, as you can see here. And so we get to showcase the beauty of the products in a bigger fashion. This year, we're doing a lot of testing around multimedia within the catalog. So we do a lot of video content with chefs, how to make this product, how to use this product, what's the difference between carbon steel and stainless steel, stuff that isn't intuitive to most buyers. So using QR codes to scan that direct to a chef-driven video and bring into life the brand through multiple aspects, all through digital mail or direct mail.
Do you have a sense who is taking these courses with your chefs and watching the videos? Are they novice cooks or veterans or other professionals?
It's interesting. We did a big CRM analysis last year. What we did was we launched glassware last year, these awesome wine glasses out of Italy. And if you bought at launch time, you got a free class with an advanced sommelier. This was like the depths of COVID when probably people were sick of digital classes, but we piled on as well. We also did one similar, which was we partnered with a masa brand to make tortillas at home, and we launched a comal pan, which is what you make tortillas on. If you bought that, you got a class to teach you how to make tortillas at home. Both of those customers had 3 times LTV gains over our normal kind of global base, but the overlap was only 2%. So it's pretty interesting because they had the same effect to a customer's life cycle, to their longevity, their interest in the brand, but it was a completely different customer base. So when we think about segmentation, we always go back to that, which is there's a lot of different pathways into the brand and through the brand, and each one kind of has their own journey. So we need to cater to that with creative, with content, with experiences, whatever that is.
Nice. Let's talk about your creative for just another moment. This is stunning. How are you deciding what goes into the perfect interior spread?
Yeah, so what we do is we map share of voice among all of our catalogs. So Tabletop got 12% of share of voice in this catalog. Obviously, if it's a front cover or back cover, it gets a boost. If it's a mid-spread, it gets a slight boost. And so that ends up calculating to a share of voice percentage, and then map that towards the SKU purchasing patterns of that catalog and see if there's matches. We then see if there's over-indexing or under-indexing. So we gave Tabletop, and this is not real data, but let's say we gave Tabletop 20% of share of voice for this catalog and it only drove 6% of sales, it'll get reduced into that next catalog. And if there's something that had 1% of share of voice and had 20% of sales, that deserves extra spreads or a higher profile spread. So for us, there's kind of 2 aspects. It's the data aspect, but then as well as we're a chef-driven brand, and Jamelka Borges here, she won Chef of the Year in Pittsburgh. Getting to showcase some of her talents. She helped us launch this collection. It's able to pair kind of the expert in the room voice of hers and some of the quotes on the next page. If this was actually a catalog, she talks about the actual Tabletop collection, and we're able to introduce our products through some of these unbelievable chefs in the community.
Wow, that's fantastic. You mentioned glassware, and you ended up launching glassware in one of your books. Can you tell us how you decide which new categories to put in print?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about a reason to open a catalog. When you scroll through an Instagram feed, you're forced to see that ad. You get a catalog in the mail, and you can either toss it, directly in the trash, or you can open it, right? And so there has to be a reason for it. We try and steer away from discounts. That's not a huge lever we like to pull as a brand. We have a premium priced product. The products speak for themselves. The imagery obviously is has improved a lot since that blue cover. New products is a way that we do that. I think what's important for the catalog space in general is we tend to see better efficiencies the more products we launch. You don't have to, you can be in the market for glassware or plateware or knives or nonstick or stainless clad to open that. But new products tends to be one of the best things to have someone actually open that catalog. And last year, glassware and into this year was a big product expansion category for us. So even if you had heard of us and you think you had bought everything from us before, it's a reason to open the catalog.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we were chatting about this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to go off script here just slightly.
Nice.
In some of the customer analytics we've done on subsets of your buyers, so talking about tableware in particular, do you want to speak to anything that you found learning about your tableware buyers?
So we take the CRM data after the purchase, people who bought tableware versus glassware, map them on penetration item through their LTV points. So does someone who buys a set have a different LTV than someone who comes in and just buys a single piece of glassware? And obviously model that into what products we lead with on marketing and what makes it into catalogs, et cetera. And then does that customer look different? Is it the same age group? Is it the same gender split? Is it the same household income? All that stuff. Tabletop was interesting for us. That was a completely new item last year, I think in September or October. It was the first category that we did that the main buyers of that looked different than our historic LTV or high LTV buyers. So we're testing this year, treating them differently. Now it's a subset seed audience that's driving a different creative, and that's going against the control, which is the general creative across LTV or tabletop. So for us, creative has been an unlock for most channels. Why is it not going to be the case for catalog, right? It should be. So for us, it's a lot about creative testing. Obviously, that puts a lot of workload on our creative team, a lot of different variations. These are pretty heavy lift spreads at some point in a lot of different file sizes and catalog covers. But we think it's going to be a huge unlock.
Yeah, we do as well. We think it's a really smart strategy. So your growth, as you were just saying, is 5x the last 2 years. Congratulations. What's next?
Yeah, I think what's super interesting for our space in general is it's been historically boring, and I think that's a kind of a theme for a lot of digitally native brands, especially in the home space. Obviously, the mattress and bedding companies kind of took that on 5 years ago, and the kitchen space came a little bit after. But something that we brought along that no one else was really doing is that drop mentality, that limited release mentality. And that's the only way we're able to do that is by working with these small manufacturers and artisans who can do limited quantity, really special, really high-touch products. And that's been a core portion of our strategy since we really incepted. And so we'll launch, this is a picture of a cleaver, which we're launching. But this is something that is an African ebony wood handle. It's one of the most rare pieces of wood out there. Each item is individually numbered 1 through 2,500. We'll build a wait list, we'll drop it, and it'll generally sell out in the same day. And this is something that then, it's a cool reason to follow Maiden. It's a cool reason to, if we do direct mail, to support that. It's a cool reason to open that piece of mail. It's a cool reason to stay in tune with our product and our brand. And it's something that no one is really doing in the kitchen space, and it's really a kind of a flex on the supply chain.
So if you sell out on this beautiful knife in a couple of hours, is that it? Only the 2,500? Or
Correct.
Would you bring it back? Oh. So how do we get on the list for this?
Instagram, our social media is mainly our email list. So
Great. Well, Chip, thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes left, and I'm hoping that people have some questions for Chip. And of course, you can ask me questions as well. Well, Chip, I have another question for you. I received an email a few days ago of this new slab bakeware piece that you have, and I thought, oh, that looks spectacular. In a couple of days, I'm going to go online and order it. And I realized earlier today I missed my chance because you've already sold out. So is that a piece that you expect to bring back? And if so, how do I know that I can still get it?
that is a piece we expect to bring back. That had a higher response rate than we thought. That piece, which is kind of like a mixture between a sheet pan and a baking dish. Was something unique. One of our chef partners, Nancy Silverton out of LA, asked us to design. And it's a really good embodiment of what we're trying to do as a brand. One of the best chefs, one of the best bakers in the world, Nancy Silverton, had this crazy idea to create this baking slab, which most people hadn't heard of. It hadn't been really developed. And we took that and worked with a manufacturing facility out of France that my co-founder had a great relationship with. They use a 200-year-old porcelain clay recipe that is proprietary, that only two people in the world know about, to produce this baking slab to our exact specifications. The brand team did an awesome job telling that story, and we didn't know what was going to happen with it. It was a product that no one had really seen before. It's a slab in a kitchen, flat, who knows? And it ended up selling out same day. So we are excited about that opportunity, but that's exactly what we're trying to do as a brand, is bring some new products and cool products to the market.
Do you have a favorite of your own products?
Ooh, good question. I would say our carbon steel is what I use the most. We say it's a mixture of cast iron and stainless steel. So cast iron is a great, and people love it for steak. The thing is, it actually doesn't conduct heat really well. It holds heat, but it doesn't conduct heat. So you get it hot and you start to overcook your steak. You can't turn the burner down and lower the temperature. It will stay that same temperature, but it seasons well. It holds heat well. And so what we did is we created, all of our chefs were using in their own kitchens, professional kitchens, carbon steel. And America hadn't really heard about carbon steel before. It's widely used in France. It's widely used in Michelin star restaurants. And we brought that to the US, developed our own thickness, et cetera. And it's kind of the perfect workhorse pan. So that's my favorite.
Well, Chip, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for your time.
Thank you.